The theoretical framework of the hero's journey, as put forward by Joseph Campbell, is fairly well known in the role-playing game hobby. In the work I've been doing over the past couple of months analyzing Dungeons and Adventures, I've developed a similar structure that I'm going to call the adventurer's journey. It's an iterative loop that an adventurer follows throughout the course of their entire career, stopping only to retire and live among the hobbits. In this diagram, I'm going to use blue and red to distinguish between player and GM initiated actions. The starting point is when a known danger becomes solvable. This might be the very first danger they learn about, like the proverbial rats in the tavern basement, or it might be something they've known about for a while and their own power level has increased and now they consider it solvable. This is a perception by the players that may or may not be correct, but it does spurn them into action. They begin to investigate the known danger, and this might be a simple location, but it might involve gathering more information about what's going on. They might know bad things are in a particular area, but not exactly where they are. So they start working on putting all that together. And they may encounter resistance to this investigation. Perhaps a few lackeys approach them and tell them to stop looking into things. Perhaps they run into a few random encounters while they're digging around for this location. These things consume time and resources. Once they have more information, they may use that to prepare. Maybe they learn that a troll is part of the defending force, so they stock up on flaming oil. This represents player anticipation of the problem. Sometimes GMs, and unfortunately also some modules by design, limit the player's ability to make these kind of adjustments, and they rob them of this step. And then they try to resolve the danger through combat, diplomacy, stealth, whatever. And in some cases, there are no surprises. If that happens, you can proceed right to the third phase. That occurs frequently. But there can be unknown factors that emerge to create more resistance. The enemy is tougher than the players thought, or they have secret allies, or they have access to magic that nobody knew about, and so on. And so the players step back and reassess, investigating the situation, trying to figure out how they can overcome these new complications. And as before, they may encounter some kind of resistance to that investigation. Villains tend to dislike it when you're digging up their vulnerabilities. When they're ready to proceed, they can try to resolve the danger again. However, at any point in the unknown factors phase, they might determine that the new information makes this known danger now unsolvable. And so they set it aside and they choose a different known danger and start this entire process all over again. Player assessment of solvability is a critical element. That's why it's so important to provide them with rumors, foreshadow dangers, let them make preparations, and so on. If they can't make these assessments, it's very easy to walk into something too powerful and get TPK'd. Any worthy danger is going to push back on the players with resistance, typically in the form of combat, but it could be social, political, economic, or religious resistance. And then when they overcome the danger, there needs to be a reward commensurate with the risks. Players will adjust their future cost-benefit analysis based on this and make different choices up to and including retiring from the campaign if they're sufficiently discouraged. Both the imaginary characters and the real people playing the game need a reason to keep going. And finally, after everything is said and done, a new danger might be revealed by all of this activity, and that goes into the bucket of known dangers, and the cycle starts over again. Rumors are a good way of getting a campaign started, but the players should be discovering more known dangers through exploration and play itself. Resolution of any particular danger is its own adventurer's journey, which iterates until they perish or retire to enjoy their riches. I hope you find this framework useful in thinking about your own gaming experiences. I am going to be using it myself going forward as a way to discuss long-term campaign play and analyze adventuring modules. Chubby Funster out.